The ability to speak with confidence and present for impact is easily the most valuable skill you can have in today's world. When you can share your knowledge, you can facilitate change, and when you can facilitate change, well, you can change the world one conversation at a time. But most people think they can't speak articulately, confidently, or with impact. They get choked up by nerves, they lose their words, or that dreaded imposter syndrome shuts them down. Well, I'm happy to say that speaking is a skill that anyone can learn, yes, even you. And that's exactly what this podcast is all about. My name is Kat Matson, and welcome to Speaking with Confidence. Oh, hello, and welcome to another episode of Speaking with Confidence with Kat Matson. Yes, I'm Kat, and today I want to talk about swearing. In particular, I want to talk about F-bombs. It's a funny old thing, isn't it? Swearing and the social appropriateness or suitability of swearing. And in the mm, certainly in the last 10 years of a relatively high profile role in the public sector, I have had so much feedback about whether or not it's okay for anyone, for women, or for professionals to swear when they're speaking. And this came up again in a recent LinkedIn post when I was talking about how to stop rambling, and somebody said, "Oh, I should heed this more, particularly when I get excited and I start swearing." I find it fascinating because in today's age, swearing, I would argue that swearing is accepted by most people. When we're having a friendly conversation with our mates, with our colleagues, even, there is swearing, there is F bombs involved. And so I think it's funny that we still have this notion of, oh, but I shouldn't swear in a professional context. I remember when I was interviewing for the role of Brisbane's chief digital officer, it'd be about 8 years ago now. And I'd gone through many interviews and discussions. And the final interview was with the Lord Mayor himself. And the person who had been preparing me said to me, "Kat, you can't swear with the Lord Mayor. You need to mind your language." And I just laughed and said, "Of course, I can do that." It was funny that I was already known for obviously being quite liberal with my F bombs. And so I kind of went into the final interview knowing that I needed to mind my P's and Q's, but wasn't overly concerned about it because I told myself that I could turn off my language or turn it on as needs be. Anyway, rumor has it, and I did get the role, but rumor has it, yeah, and I still don't remember this, but rumor has it that apparently I did drop the F bomb a couple of times in that meeting because, like the commenter on my LinkedIn post, I get excited and I use the F word to emphasize my excitement or my emphatic support or emphatic frustration with something. I got the job, even though supposedly I couldn't drop the F bomb in front of the Lord Mayor. And since then, I have shared so many stages in what do we call them, in good professional company, where one would think, "Oh no, you can't swear," and it's been fine. But does that mean that we should? Does that mean it's a good strategy to use? So, from a context of speaking with confidence and with speaking with impact, I wanted to riff a little bit with you today around swearing and how to judge whether or not you're in an environment where it's going to add to your cause or whether it's going to detract, and how to use it in a way that is authentic but not over the top and certainly not going to alienate your audience. So, first of all, I think we need to remember that not everybody likes it. Not everybody likes swearing. And so, if you are relying heavily on expletives to make your point, then perhaps you are excluding or losing some members of your audience. Now, I've seen, and in fact, I've done this myself plenty of times when I have wanted to emphasize a point, I will kind of choke on the word deliberately to make the point. I will say something along the lines of, for crying out loud, for sake, surely. So, kind of swallowing and capturing, if you like, the F bomb. You're still making your point without actually having the words leave your mouth. And I should note that I'm being very, very particular about not swearing in this because it'll get picked up on all sorts of podcasting platforms. Apple Podcasts won't allow the F word. So I'm not going to say it because I don't want it to get picked up and edited and, you know, rated differently and all that kind of thing. So, in an audience, that is one technique that you can use to just still make your point, still be authentic, but not offend those who don't like it. Other times, I have quite happily spoken freely and used the full word, and I've felt the audience's reaction. And I think that, and felt is the operative word. Early on, as Brisbane's chief digital officer, people would giggle. People would giggle when I would swear on stage, and they'd come up to me afterwards and go, "Oh, it's so refreshing that you're just so authentic." And the giggle told me that it was still not common, and it's far more common now. I mean, we hear radio announcers and TV presenters swear quite freely now, and our social norms, I think, have loosened up a lot. But feeling the audience's response is really important. I think the other thing here too is if you are a swearer and if you are going to swear, then using phrases like pardon the French or, pardon me is fine, but not if you're going to keep doing it. Because what you're then saying to the people who are offended is, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to offend you, but I'm going to keep doing it anyway. So there's that balance, I guess, is what I'm trying to say between owning who you are, owning your language, feeling the audience, and deciding whether or not you're going to keep using it or not. I think my final point on this one is, does it help or hinder you making the impact that you want to make? Does it help or hinder you making your dent in the universe? There is a there is a distinction, a significant distinction between everyone liking you and coming up to you afterwards and saying, "Oh, I love how authentic you are. I love how down to earth you are. I love how normal you are," and making an impact and having people shift and having people move. And this is only a question that you can answer on a case by case basis. But I've learned that there are some audiences where the swearing, whilst it might be tolerated, whilst it might be even accepted, it doesn't actually add to the impact that I'm trying to make. And my outcome, 9 times out of 10, when I'm speaking for change, when I'm speaking to move people, my outcome is not to become besties with the audience. My outcome is not to be liked by the audience. My outcome is to drive my outcome. My outcome is to move my audience from where they are now to where they want them to be, where I want them to be, rather. So, does that mean I don't swear? Hell no. But I'm really mindful of it. And if I do notice, if I do feel that I've offended my audience, I will very quickly adjust, I will apologize, and I will move on. So, I would love to know what you think on this particular topic because yeah, it's one of those topics, particularly as a professional woman, that, there is still more of a taboo about women swearing than there are men. I think it's a completely different rule set. So I would love to have this conversation. So if you are not already a member, head over to Facebook and open up, or look for, I should say, the Speaking with Confidence with Kat Matson Facebook group. That's Speaking with Confidence with Kat Matson. It's exactly the same name as this podcast because, yes, it is the accompanying group to this podcast. And tell me, what do you think? Do you take more notice when a speaker that you're listening to is authentic in their language and drops the F bomb or other swear words? Is it a turn off? And what about when you're speaking? Do you use your language freely, or do you manage your language as if you're in polite circles? I would love to know, and I would love to know whether you think it adds impact or not. So that's Speaking with Confidence on Facebook. It's Speaking with Confidence with Kat Matson Facebook group. I would love to have this conversation. So that's it. That's it for today. An entire episode about the F bomb and whether or not the F bomb is useful for impact. I think my answer is sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. And as whether whatever topic, whatever content you're talking about, you have to gauge where your audience is at and figure out what's going to work to move them. Until next week, when I see you for another episode of Speaking with Confidence, I hope you have a fabulous week. I hope you are making all of the dents in the universe that you wish to make. And I hope that you're making progress on the things that are important to you. In the meantime, here's to confidence and here's to impact. I'll see you soon.